This is Oliver, and I'm in a bunker I call Studio 72 in the People's Republic of Portland, Oregon. Greetings, you intergalactic time travelers, as you see fit to call yourselves. I'm here with in front of one of the Egyptian paintings, and I can't help but feel like Portland is a bit like ancient Egypt. Now, hear me out. It's not as cool. We're kind of artsy fartsy. We're collapsing, and soon we might be all gone. Poof. But I've noticed that we're making some international news again for all the wrong reasons. It's one of the things that we do here in Portland really well, is make international news for all the wrong reasons. And I couldn't help but notice a city leader, county leader, presser yesterday. And I wanted to kind of give some of my thoughts on that. I want to recorrect the corrected record that they're spinning out. And because it's insulting. It's insulting to me, who's been here for over 50 years, my whole life. It's insulting to a lot of people that are outside of Portland in Oregon. And it's insulting to a lot of people nationally who are being treated like we don't know what's going on. We didn't see 2020. We didn't see 2016 in Portland. But we didn't see 2020, the summer of love. We didn't watch for months and months and months and months as the city looked like Mad Max beyond the Thunderdome or something like this. So, and we remember, it's the video lasts forever. The live streams last forever. Just like with ancient Egypt, you have these pyramids. Where'd the people go? We have these huge pyramids that nobody seems to really understand or able to explain how that happened and why they're still there and who came first and what was on second. But there's a couple of things, and I don't know if you can hear with the air purifiers all going, this little janky setup. I'm not sure you can hear all that, but I do want to see if a little bit of this presser will come out. It's a long presser, and I hadn't watched it. And I can't help but feel that as I heard President Trump in the Oval Office yesterday as he was signing executive orders, I couldn't help but feel that it's the longevity and the nature of these violent sociopathic attacks, these anarcho-sociopathic communist, anarcho-communist sociopathic attacks that just keep enduring. They no matter how many arrests, what's going on, it just keeps going on and on and on and on. This is really, and Trump even said that. He's like, they don't stop. They can't stop. It's like the point was taken. He said, I'm paraphrasing. He said something like, they can't stop. It's like it just keeps going on and on. And I think that was a reference to 2020 as well as a reference to in Portland. Because I believe we're approaching like 90 days. I haven't calculated, I haven't officially calculated it, but we're approaching months and months and months again, just like in 2020. Months and months and months and months. If they could have just stopped, but they couldn't. That wasn't the plan in 2020. What was the plan? It was to disrupt, make Trump look like this authoritarian lunatic that in all this chaos, it can only go away. We can only stop this chaos here in Portland is if we get rid of Trump. You have to vote. You have to elect him out of office. And that's really what 2020 was all about, wasn't it? On top of the COVID-19, that's really what the bioweapon COVID-19 was all about, wasn't it? I think so. I don't think that's just a wild-eyed conspiracy at this point. I really think that we're seeing some themes here in the patterns. That's why I'm very concerned for next summer. I'm equally concerned of this situation right now. I mean, we have Ice Cube the musician, actor, rapper in Portland. And from what I understand, now I could be wrong about this, but Ice Cube tour bus, if people thought that maybe seeing the word ice, was the word ice on the tour bus? There's a lot of kind of little bits and pieces that are a little bit different on the facts of what happened here. One of the pictures, it first said it was at the Moda Center. Well, apparently he was performing some Truth Tour. If I can, I've got that one up here. Fire damages Ice Cube's tour bus in Portland, spokesperson says. So this was a spokesperson. Does it say what it was? He was in town. I think they're calling it some sort of, there was a couple different stories. The one hip hop magazine had it completely wrong. They said it was Thursday, and I think it was all. And they said it just seems like there's some conflicting information. But from what I understand, is this was actually a tour bus downtown, Southwest. If KPTV has got it right, Southwest Oak, Southwest, not Southeast, because there's a Southeast Oak too. Southwest Oak in Broadway. So Broadway and Oak. That's right down. I'm just trying to kind of piece that. I mean, all of downtown's pretty rough, but that area, right, that little corner around Burnside is historically been a rough little area. I'm not sure which hotel they were at, and then it talks about how it was a wheel well or something was set on fire within the wheel well. And I don't know if that was a Molotov cocktail. How do you get that ignited? What is causing that? It's very, very strange. The whole thing, really. But strange for Portland. We are Mad Max beyond the Thunderdome at this point, and have been for years, quite frankly, as I was pointing out, 2020. But it says here, Ice Cube's tour bus was damaged by fire in downtown Portland on Tuesday morning. So Tuesday morning. This wasn't Thursday, because that's how it was kind of being spun as it was Friday. I was saying yesterday, I was thinking, well, this was yesterday. Well, it's Tuesday, early morning, so it would have been almost like Monday night, Tuesday morning. According to a spokesperson, Ice Cube was in Portland for a performance on Monday night at the Portland Moda Center. So again, when I heard Moda Center, I was thinking it's the bus at the Moda Center, and that is a very crazy, dangerous area. Multiple stabbings, multiple encampments. You've got, drug lords running street camp captain lords. It's organized business down there. According to Portland officials, firefighters responded to a chartered tour bus with a fire in the wheel well near Southwest Oak and Broadway. Firefighters said they extinguished the burning tire and ventilated the smoke from the bus. So it wasn't just the tire. It was actually up in the bus, if I'm to understand this correctly. Fire is being investigated. The fire officials are working to gather possible evidence or other information from nearby security cameras. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we can get them. Ice Cube's spokesperson said the crew was safe, shared a statement from the performer, quote, "I'm not taking this incident as a personal attack. A coward like that would burn anybody's property that was out there at the time," end quote. So he didn't feel like it was like, we know this is Ice Cube's tour bus. Is it something on the outside? Is there something painted? A lot of times there isn't. Right? They want to be anonymous. It's part of safety for whatever reasons, multiple reasons, all the above. So, all of this is kind of an interesting dynamics. Very unfortunate. All apologies to Ice Cube. I think he's a pretty cool dude. This will probably flip him right into Maha or full-blooded American First, and we'll start doing a tour with Ice Cube. I don't know if that's true. This kind of goes against, we are recorrecting the corrected record of the correcting of city officials, that this is a wonderful, enjoyable place, safe for tourists, which that kind of language, in my opinion, is going to get tourists killed. And that's not hyperbolic. People are going to be attacked and they're going to die in Portland if they're not prepared for what could be awaiting them in any number of surprise ambushes or surprises from mentally ill or directed anarcho-communists that are just here to fuck up and kill capitalists. Because that is the mantra, and it has been for years, and it's still present. That's what makes it so dangerous. When city leaders come out, and then you got Senator Wyden, they're all coming out this presser, and they're saying, hey, this is all Trump. This is Trump trying to paint us as this crazy town. This Wyden's coming out and saying that Trump is trying to paint the city to create riots. This is what Trump wants, is riots. Where the fuck has Senator Wyden been? You know, as his kids kill the gay nanny at home, he can't even keep the nanny safe. Where the fuck has Senator Wyden been? For what, 5 years? He didn't see the news for 5 years? Where was he in 2020 to say, hey guys, stop trying to attack the federal Mark Hatfield courthouse. Hey guys, this isn't a good idea. Hey guys, this is bad PR for Portland. Hey guys, stop. No, Senator Wyden never said that. No, Senator Markey never said that. Not once. Then in 2020, and they didn't say it now in this press conference. Well, I guess there was 2 press conferences. There was the Federales press conference after they did a tour of the ICE facility. And then there was this city county kind of community leader type of press conference. And this was, I believe, Friday. I just watched a live streamer doing this, and he said he live streamed it as if this presser was live. And I kept saying in the chat, I think his name's JLR Investigations. And I kept saying, I'm pretty sure this is from, I think, yesterday. But they thought it was live today. I think it was just a minor issue. I wouldn't look at that as disinformation. Kind of like this Ice Cube thing. There's like all this weird the bottom line is that the tour bus, it did happen. There's people that are even disputing whether Ice Cube's tour bus was firebombed. Now, firebomb might be a bit strong considering I'm reading now wheel well. There was smoke in the tour bus. Thank God nobody was in there sleeping or doing anything. Very unacceptable and very crazy. Just a part of a long, long line. I'll try to move on, get my mind to move on from the Ice Cube incident. We got lots of somewhat like Ice Cube incident type of situations. So now the presser this year, I don't know if you can hear this.
Calm as federal agents appear to be mobilizing across Portland. Portland Mayor Keith Wilson and congressional leaders.
Oops.
Emergency news conference just hours ago. Good evening, thanks for joining us. I'm Anthony Vistura, and this is the 10. Let's get right to our Ariel Yakubazi tonight.
Sure, I got the volume up.
South Portland. Ariel, this all comes amid new threats from President Trump, who's been pushing for a heavier federal presence in Portland.
This is Yahoo News. It's Coin.
Yes, Anthony, out here at the ICE facility here in South Portland.
Can you hear that?
Rather, things are pretty cool collected. You can see several protesters are out, but a small group, they've remained quite
Ariel
calm
Jacobazi.
the evening tonight. And it appears leaders are now standing together, verbally pushing back against the Trump administration. Tonight, it's unclear who the federal government has deployed, ICE agents, National Guard, perhaps both. But one thing is clear from these lawmakers, you're not welcome here.
Thank you for coming here on such short notice.
City, county, and religious leaders gathering in Northeast Portland within an hour's notice. They're here because they say more federal agents have been seen in the Rose City, reportedly driving.
So it's a 3-minute thing.
Portland. Mayor Keith Wilson says this type of federal presence is not wanted.
We have a place at the table for everyone, willing to lend a hand, including the federal government. However, we have no tolerance for anyone in Portland who uses this difficult moment to hurt others or our home.
At a separate
So that's the only message for peace there.
Leaders raised alarms over what they call a lack of
Was that
process
for the
protesters? They accuse agents of or
is he talking about the federal agents hurting other people? Very convoluted, and they're all doing this. Senator Merkley spoke like this. Wyden spoke like this. The county spoke like this. The city spoke. It's like they're being very ambivalent. Nobody's saying full stop. Nobody has said full stop for 90 days, months and months and months. several weeks, at any time, we're talking about blowing up, trying to burn ICE agents alive, just like they did in 2020, trying to burn police officers alive in their fire stations, in their precincts. We saw them try to put screw-in plywood so they could firebomb. That's all on live stream. Over and over again, we saw that in 2020. It was insane. We saw 2020. We forget. They've forgotten. Merkley's forgotten. Senator Wyden's forgotten, right? He's probably got dementia, and Merkley probably does too. So, got early Alzheimer's. I mean, these old timers, they just need to resign, move on, let the next generation come up. But they've forgotten, because they're all talking like this is peaceful protest. 2020 was peaceful protest. This is all peaceful protest. What are you guys talking about? This is unconstitutional. You're infringing on our constitutional rights, Merkley says. That this is peaceful protest. None of this is peaceful protest. None of this in 2020 was peaceful protest. Trying to burn up ICE agents in their ICE facilities is not peaceful protest. Bashing out their windows, arm-to-arm combat. We've had people down there with guns. We've had people, thank God we haven't had any ICE agents assassinated here in Portland. That comes next from these lunatics. That comes next with these fuckbots. So that's what it's going to take for Wyden and Merkley to go, oh, well, it's not as peaceful as we thought. It shouldn't take that. It shouldn't take. I've been saying this for months. Many of us have been saying this for months. We're from Portland. Okay, first of all, stop talking about us in third person like we're not a part of the community and we don't support an intervention because you guys, the leaders, have failed to step up and protect the community. We have homicidal, anarchist, communist sociopaths that want to kill everybody. They're not well. They're on top of buildings, shooting at ICE facilities in Texas. They're on top of buildings at the Utah University, shooting patriots because they don't like their messages, killing them, assassins, over and over and over and over again, all over the country. We've seen it in California. We saw it on live streams just months ago. These guys are down there shooting at it. We got them on video, shooting guns in these peaceful protests, shooting guns at agents. That's not peaceful protest. And the people, the public, the community, we see what's going on. We see that it's not peaceful protest, and we know that you're pathological liars, and you have no merit, you have no leadership, and you're attacking Trump for not doing proper management. You're attacking Trump, saying that he's not doing the governance because he wants to bring peace to the community of people like us, which there's hundreds of thousands of us here in the Portland community that need help and assistance to restore peace and justice because the leadership is in on this anarchist communist plot. As I'm watching this presser, you have the city leadership, 4 of them, some say 5, at least 4 of these city commissioners collecting $120,000 a year in capitalist money are aligned with DSA. Tyler Robinson in Utah University assassin, the sniper, he was aligned with DSA, the same group that these city commissioners claim, that their own words, that they are affiliated and aligned with DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, which is communist in its roots. This is Maoist, Marxist, violent, sociopathic. They hate capitalism. They're trying to overthrow America. There's nothing peaceful. There's no peaceful protest when you're in an armed attempt, armed coup it's an insurrection, right? Isn't it the legal term, insurrection? Insurrections are not peaceful. There's not a peaceful insurrection. It's not a peaceful, violent coup. It's an oxymoron. It's like fresh frozen or military intelligence or jumbo shrimp. Aren't all shrimp real small? It's an oxymoron. 4 of them standing at this presser yesterday, Friday, are just nodding their heads. Yes, it's peaceful. They're affiliated with the communist plot to overthrow and destroy Portland in 2020. One of them, Commissioner Angelita Murillo, was a staffer for a proud, self-proclaimed communist Marxist, Commissioner Hardesty. She was a staffer that came from Commissioner Hardesty's office herself in 2020. She's receiving email and communications. The FOIA, they probably burned and destroyed it all now. The FOIA should have been done, or at least forced. They're probably just like Hillary Clinton, bleach bit and burning all that communication. I happen to know for a fact that there was emails with the violent communist plotters, the anarcho-communists, to Angelita Murillo, now the city commissioner, working in conjunction with the violent plan to overthrow Portland and the country. That was direct link. So, and you have Angelita looking like she's from the Little Rascals. In fact, the whole motley crew of this press conference yesterday, of all shouting that we get away from us, we don't need you feds, get out of Portland, get out of town, we are the leaders and this is our county, and posse comitatus, and this is like Merkley's going to give us a political speech. He's this means power to the county. There's a federal dipshit who has instigated or been a complicit in the violent insurrection since 2020 and today. He's now going to lecture at a presser about the power of county. The federal dipshit who's been a part of the communist coup, at least quiet, if not directly involved, just like Wyden. They're going to lecture the county? Excuse me, Senator? Where have you been? Are you chasing the dragon? Are you smoking the fentanyl, sir? I know your wife is a nurse. Is she bringing some of the good stuff home from the nursing community from work, right? Conflicts of interest is they're live streaming. Merkley's live streaming. Get your boosters in 2020, 2021. Get your shots, get your boosters. Well, yeah, that's because the big pharma industry is paying his wife's salary at hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. She's a nurse. That's called the conflict of interest, sir, Senator, sir. It's a conflict of interest to have him there lecturing as a federal senator who should be representing all of Oregon, all 4 million, which 3 million of us do not agree with you, Senator Merkley. 3 million of you Oregonians who you claim to represent don't agree with your posse comitatus and this is a peaceful protest and back off, Trump. Oh, and you got Wyden saying that Trump somehow is trying to instigate. He wants to instigate riots. Where the fuck are you guys for 90 days? They're down there rioting with machetes. Portland ICE, they're down there with guns. Portland ICE. They're still down there now. They'll begin tonight. They got plans again tonight. Where are you people? Where have you been, Senator? And you've got and I expect that from the county and the city leadership. I expect that from because they're just so, it's like the Little Rascals. Like I was saying with Commissioner Angelita Murillo, she's wearing pants that are like 10 times too big. Is that the style? Maybe that's the style. I'm so out of touch with fashion, but I mean, she's got cuffs that are like 12-inch cuffs folded up on jeans that look like, they're 4X and she's in a small. I mean, is that the look, the Little Rascal look, and you've got Commissioner, the whole gang's up there. And she didn't speak. Murillo didn't speak. But how ironic to have her speak and lecture about peaceful protest as she was in Communist Marxist Commissioner Hardesty's office in 2020 as the coup violently unfolded and people were massacred in the streets of downtown Portland as they were trying to blow up with explosives the federal courthouse of Mark Hatfield building. Isn't that a little ironic, Commissioner? Yeah, it's probably best you put your 4X jeans in your ass to the side and not speak up on this peaceful protest press conference. This has been percolating for years. Years and years. The mismanagement and the instigating of this violent coup in Portland, this is the fruit of the seeds that you have sowed. This is the vengeance from God for your wickedness in the city of Portland. Not that I want it. I never wanted it. I've been the peacemaker for years. I'm still the diplomatic peacemaker, even with you dipshits holding pressers like that. How infuriating. Don't insult our intelligence. We're far smarter than that. But these neoliberals may be gobbling it up, and that's who that presser was for. We're going to try to paint this as Trump is trying to instigate riots. No, dipshits. They've been down there rioting with machetes and guns, trying to blow up the federal ICE facility for months. And there's been arrests after arrests, waves of arrests by federal agents because Chief Bob Day and the compromised Portland Police Bureau refuses to do their jobs. Refuses to do their jobs to the point where the apartment complex of many, many floors of communities of color, marginalized disabled people at Gray's Landing, directly across from the ICE facility, have to file lawsuits against the city. And what does the city do? What does little Commissioner Marxist Angelito Murillo, what does she do? She communicates with the anarchos to get some good witnesses, some good eyewitness speakers for the anarcho comms, communicators in the court of law, handpicked by our city commissioners, handpicked to defend itself in the court of law on the lawsuits from these marginalized communities who have been traumatized, terrorized by domestic terrorists attacking the ICE facility. I mean, if Wyden can't keep his psychopathic children from killing gay nannies, he's certainly not going to be able to defend our community from domestic terrorists with machetes and guns trying to burn federal officers at the ICE facility. Is he? That's incompetence. Whether it's a real medical condition, Alzheimer's, dementia, psychosis, or just the fact that you're a neoliberal Democrat and a fucking total sellout. Grifting with insider trading, millions and millions and millions of dollars funneled into your wife's bank account from insider trading as you live in $1 million condos in New York, claiming to be representing we the people of Oregon. That's criminal. And you should be indicted. We might even be able to indict Markley somewhere around on those same grounds. I don't know. Wyden is for certain. We saw his numbers from last year, 2024. Made millions and millions, $12 million. I don't even know how many millions, but it's there. I saw it. It's public record. It's not like I saw something insider, some privy email. It's public record. That's his profits off the insider trading of the stock portfolio. Just like Pelosi's record, her hundreds of millions of dollars. It's all public record. It's right there. It's insulting. It's insulting to people that are paying attention, who have intelligence, to know what the fuck is going on here in our own backyard, our own downtown, our own hometown, multi-generational Oregonian. Multi-generational Oregonian. This is our state. We are the people, the Oregonians of our state. You're clearly living in a New York condo. You're clearly not an Oregonian. So shut the fuck up. Go to jail. Go to prison. Face a judge. Go to prison. Your wife too. Furious at the Wyden. I mean, it's beyond disgusting. I'm beyond pissed at the Wyden family. But this is far beyond. Let me back up beyond the Wyden criminal, sociopathic, over-sexualized whack job family. You have city and county leaders, just as I pointed out, Commissioner Angelita Murillo, the little communist collecting $120,000 of capitalist dollars, right? So, and she can't afford clothing that fits her, 4X, 10X, jeans. Get some clothes. Especially when it's a presser with the whole nation and the world's looking. Get some clothes. Dress appropriately, ding dong. But this policy that she has to play stupid, They all do it. She was directly involved in the criminal activities in 2020 at a city hall, as I've pointed out numerous times. I'm repeating myself there. She's not alone. There's other DSA assets, operatives, not a conspiracy, their own words, their own affiliations. They're proud to be affiliated with this DSA, communist, violent, assassins and snipers, gay Mossad furries. I don't know. Are they Mormon Mafia too? I don't know. It could be more than just a couple of different groups. Could be a big umbrella of this communist coup, right? The furry coup, the violent furry coup. Is everybody at City Hall a furry? Are we just dealing with a bunch of dipshits dressed in squirrel outfits, hoarding nuts, and preaching communism? Is that what Portland has become? Violent squirrel furries. It's disgusting. Speaking of disgusting of this presser, who do they wheel out to be a great, right, community of color? Pastor Hennessy, Pastor Matt Hennessy. He's hoping you forget. And young Zoomers, millennials, somewhere that this DSA assets, they may not know. If they do know Pastor Hennessy's background and they're silent, we went from Me Too to now complacent of putting Pastor Hennessy to speak for all of us, to speak that he's from the community of Portland, which he's not. He's been here 30 years, still a transplant. But with his background, his own words of confession of being a rapist, of sexually abusing minor, his own words. Civil leader accused of sex abuse. This is coming from the Oregonian Scott Learn and Annan Griffin. Prosecutors declined to press charges in 1993 because Hennessy, the teenager and her mother, refused to cooperate. This is 1993. This little memo is dated November 4th, 2005. Oregonian reporters, as I just said their names. It's a letter. But in recent interviews, in a signed statement in the Oregonian, the woman, now 29, says Hennessy abused her several times per week. This is Pastor Hennessy who just spoke Friday, abusing a teen several times a week. This is the leader? This is the pushback against Trump? And Trump's the bad guy, right? Trump's the bad guy? Huh? But this is your leader? Pastor Hennessy, Pastor Matt Hennessy. Here's his own words to the victim. From age 12 or 13 to 16, several times per week. Documents obtained by the newsletter include emails Hennessy sent to the woman in 2003, admitting sexual abuse. A police report on the investigation, an attorney case filed the documents and settlement, which Hennessy paid for the girl's counseling. That's it? Paid for her counseling? There wasn't any hush money? Wow. Hennessy left the city's urban renewal agency. This was a guy that the Neil Goldschmidt, who was banging 12-year-old teens, brought in. So this is a part of the Portland pedophile team. Matt Hennessy, who spoke at the presser, defending violent sociopathic anarchists, calling it peaceful protest yesterday. Hennessy left. He was with the city 20 years ago. 30 years ago. They want you to forget this. 27th, at the end of his 3-year term, a former Nike executive, of course, right? The sexual abusers always started in Nike. He now leads Quick Tracks, a Beaverton technology firm. Now, understand, this is 2005. This is not a new letter. And serves as pastor at a North Portland church. He came to Oregon in 1988 to request of future Governor Ted Kulongoski to oversee the state workers' compensation system. he considered running for mayor in 2004, right? Because, I mean, what do teen sex abusers do in Portland? They run for office. They become mayors and governors with Goldschmidt. More recently, friends and supporters suggested he challenge U.S. Rep. David Wu in 2006. Remember Wu? He was a furry too. He'd snort a bunch of Oxycontins and he'd abuse teens in a tiger outfit. Wu, remember Wu? Crazy little tiger furry? Yeah, that's Portland leadership. That's Portland Democrat leadership. In July 26th interview, Hennessy, 46 back then. See, add 20 years. Said describing his conduct with the girl as sexual would be very, very mischaracterized. He declined to answer direct questions about whether he had sex with her. In a written statement in the Oregonian late last month, Hennessy apologized for what he called my inappropriate exposure and poor judgment. Oh, really? Raping a teen several times a week is poor judgment? What the fuck's wrong with you? And now you're going to lecture us at a presser about Trump? Shut the fuck up, sir. Shut the fuck up. The woman said she declined to cooperate with authorities as a teenager because she cared for Hennessy and hoped to protect him. A lot of abusers want to protect the abused. She said she agreed to come forward now because Hennessy remains in trustworthy positions, and his recent statements suggest he hasn't accepted responsibility for his actions or their impact. Quote, Mr. Hennessy was a trusted and important figure in my life, her statement says, quote, and he violated the trust I placed in him. The Oregonian began researching Hennessy's background this summer. It's 2005. Reporters learned of the sexual abuse allegations in late July from a source outside the family. Public records from the Multnomah County District Attorney and the Portland Police Bureau indicate there was a 1993 investigation, no indictments. You got Neil Goldschmidt, Governor Neil Goldschmidt. You've got Bernie Gusto, who became the Multnomah County Sheriff, right? Bernie Gusto was the driver for Neil Goldschmidt as he was banging 12 and 13-year-old nannies himself. As he became governor, he brought in Bernie Gusto, the driver who drove him around in between raping the nanny, who was minor, teens, raping teens. This is what they do. They elevate themselves in Portland. This is Portland Democrats. It's the party. Just like Governor Tina Kotek is protecting Ron Wyden as their family killed the gay nanny. The woman initially declined to talk to reporters about Hennessy. When told of Hennessy's responses, she changed her mind. She also provided records on the case. The Oregonian does not publish the names of sex abuse victims without their consent and has not published the name of the woman or her exact relationship to Sandy to protect her identity. The woman who lives in the Portland area, I wonder if she still does after 20 years. The woman lives in the Portland area, is married with young children. I wonder if she's still married. The children would all be grown up if they're even here. And she's willing to testify in court to the truth of her statement. The police report obtained in late September in a letter Hennessy's lawyers sent to police indicate that Hennessy knew about the allegations. He spoke with a state child abuse investigator, the report says, and had a lawyer talk to police on his behalf. In his October statement, Hennessy did not address why he originally told reporters that he had not heard of the investigation in '93. The woman also provided 2 emails. The woman provides 2 emails that she says Hennessy sent in January of 2003, 22 years ago. This is our community leadership. This is who the DSA furries are rallying behind, right? Because of identity politics? The rapist, child rapist, teen rapist. Hennessy apologized twice. This is the emails. In the long missives, Hennessy apologized twice for sexually abusing her, adding that he, quote, never sexually abused anyone before you and never have since then, end quote. Quote, I would give my life to relive and do it differently where you concerned. Where you are concerned, end quote. He said in the first email, quote, I apologize for abusing you sexually. This is from Hennessy. This is from Matt Hennessy, Pastor Matt Hennessy, the child rapist, who's now this great pioneer for the city-county coalition against Trump's federal agents to just enforce the law and keep us safe. Hennessy, who was about 29 to 33 at the time of the alleged abuse, did not dispute the emails. In his statement, he says he does not, quote, begrudge anyone for sharing with you private and privileged emails, end quote. He said they were written with with the intent of aiding our healing process. So this is his healing process, right? So he's all healed up real good. He's healed up so good, the county and the city now pushed him to the front to speak words of wisdom from God, right, at the presser yesterday. Hennessy did not elaborate on whether in the events of 12 years ago or why relatives would be out to get him, saying that doing so would be opening a gate of mutually resolved disagreements and counter accusations, end quote. Who knows what the fuck that is? Here we go, with quote, with God's help. Pastor Matt Hennessy, with God's help. Was God there as you were raping a teen several times a week, sir? Shut the fuck up. With God's help, I sought forgiveness, reconciliation, and healing many years ago for the issues within my ex-family which stemmed from my childhood and other trauma. Oh, he's the victim, right? They're always the victim. ... He wrote, quote, I refuse to be a part of rehashing the details of this issue or my version of this matter in the media. Oh, of course. You just lost your job and you ain't going to run for mayor now. But hey, look, you still got a chance in 2025. DSA loves the rapist now. Forget about Me Too. Fuck Me Too. We're going to put the child rapists up front and speak for all of us. Disgusting. Portland lawyer Philip Lewis. This goes on and on. I think I hammered my fucking point there. Woman says the abuse was oral and genital contact, short of penetration. Began when she was 12 or 13, not 14 and a half. On and on. I think that's the crux of it. She goes on, saying she knows that he suffered abuse. Yeah, just that's why he abused her. So this is a perfect example of why that I expose this piece of shit. This is the kind of ammo. This is the way the neoliberal Democrats operate, right? Is they're going to make up sexual abuse allegations to their enemies and protect the sexual abusers within their own ranks. Not only protect them, elevate them up to where they're speaking for 10 or 15 minutes and then applauding after he speaks. I heard a little chatter as he comes back, because I noticed that Multnomah County Chair Vega Peterson, she was really impressed with his words. What a great, powerful speaker. Does she know that he was raping a child for years? Does she know? She doesn't care anymore because he's a great guy, right? He's a great pastor now. Yeah. A whole bunch of other pastors, and I'm not going to get into all of them. I'm not going to drag the whole African-American community of Portland into the gutter. There's other churches with a bunch more allegations of abuse of children from the North Portland community. We don't need to go into that on this one. Hennessy is good enough. It's long enough there on that point because he was in the presser. He spoke at the presser. He was the team speaker. This is the beacon of justice. This is the high moral integrity, their leadership of Pastor Matt Hennessy to lecture to us Portlanders, lecture to us that we don't need any federal intervention. We don't need legal citizenship. That's all Trump trying to instigate riots. where they've already been rioting for weeks and weeks and weeks, months and months and months, attempting to kill and assassinate, burn down, and blow up the ICE facility at Southwest Macadam, traumatizing hundreds of community members, marginalized people of communities of color, and disabled veterans at that facility, across the street at that facility. Let me make this one point on this ICE facility, because it really is remarkable to me. It's remarkable to me that people don't understand what that ICE facility does and is there for. It feeds into the ignorance and the triggered lunacy of these anarcho-communist haters. That ICE facility is there to facilitate people to become legal Oregonians. It's a facility where people can come in and get their paperwork and drop off and get their name into the register so they can become legal citizens. This is the Portland facility. As I believe it was Merkley mentioned it, I don't think it was Wyden. It might have been both, I don't know. I think it was Merkley that mentioned if this facility isn't here, everyone is going to need to be round up, arrested, or drive up to Tacoma voluntarily, Tacoma, because that's the closest facility here in the Pacific Northwest, is Tacoma. I know that because I've had Australian friends of the family where he was locked up for months in the Tacoma facility looking at deportation back to Australia. Family friend Marco, haven't seen him for 15, 20 years, but that did happen. It does happen. Not all migrants are bad serial killer cartel sociopaths. There's some good people there. Some good people from Australia. Some good people from all over the world. Good people from Mexico. Good people from everywhere. Guatemala. There's good people from all over. There's a process. We're not haters. We're not xenophobic. We are the community that wants to protect our community from cartel criminal sociopaths that don't care about Oregon. They don't care about Portland. They don't care about Multnomah County, for Christ's sakes. These are good people that need their paperwork and their processing done. That's what that Portland ICE facility does. It helps with. It helps with that process. It's not Guantanamo Bay. These federal assets, these federal operatives and agents, they're not from Gitmo, although one could argue Gitmo isn't the ghoulish, with Dr. Mengele pulling teeth without anesthesia. They're good people. Just like there's good officers and there's bad officers. And just like there's good ICE agents, there might be some bad ICE agents too. That's the point is these are not the devil. These are not Nazis. These guys are helping coordinate the long process to U.S. citizenship. This is Merkley tried to tiptoe around it as he said something, I don't have his exact quote, but he made a statement about not saying either to be fair or to be balanced, and then he made the point I just made. And I've been making that for years. When there was Occupy ICE and I was down there filming and interviewing and talking with people about what's going on here. 2017, I think that was. So I think that was 8 years ago. I can't believe the time. But Raquel and I were both down there at that time. There was lots of children down there. It wasn't violent like it has been for 90 days at that time. Let me backpedal that. It got very violent, and there was all kinds of crazy shit, but there was daytime activities. It was that daytime thing versus the nighttime type thing. And I was really more on a fact-finding mission rather than, I'm not Black Bloc. I've never masked up. I don't need to hide from anybody because I'm not doing any criminal activity. This is my community, and I want to know what's going on. I'm here as an objectional, what do they call that? Peaceful observer. What is that? Objectional observer? What is that? There's a name for that. think in the Vietnam War there was people that were like objectionable observers, something like this. That's the way I look at myself, at least back in that time. And now, I'm still the same guy. But this is getting lost in the fervor of we have to stomp on all fascism, stomp on capitalism, and we're going to take over Portland. So the objectives, this is the irony and hypocrisy, continues on. There's just a spaghetti plate of irony and hypocrisy from these folks. Just like Commissioner Angelita Murillo and her DSA communist comrade. The objective was to fight fascism and destroy the country, overthrow Portland, and take power. Well, they've got 4 seats in there now. How did they get there? They got there because conservatives have believed that they can't vote anymore. The system is so rigged, they can't vote anymore. So this is a message to the Portland conservatives in particular, because I know that there is tens of thousands, if not 100,000 of you here in Portland. I know you're here. You're in your bunkers. You're terrified. You believe the voting system is corrupted, and you've given up on it. When you give up on that, bad things happen to us. Bad things happen to our city because communists get elevated in there, especially with this ranked choice voting that you don't understand, that nobody understands. That's a huge reason how these communists got there, right? Was through this lack of understanding. And I don't blame really anybody, because this particular multi-seat ranked choice voting, instant runoff voting, it's very confusing to people that have never heard about it before. Even to people like me, I still have to like refresh and go, okay, wait, hang on. All right, so you do this, that. Don't rank anybody you don't want seated and rank. Okay, and there's little tricks. There's like your number 1 vote, number 2 vote. I don't want to get into it all because it is really confusing. And the people that are like, it's all corrupt, fuck you up, and they look at this page of names of 40 names, and they're like, oh, fuck you people. And they didn't do their ballots. And now we've got DSA. We have communists who were directly involved, Commissioner Angelita Murillo and friends, but her in particular, because she was fucking paid at Commissioner Hardesty's office. That's where she came from. Insider, elevated. She was there, an accomplice, aiding and abetting. She's now there seated in her 10X jeans that wouldn't fit an elephant. It's like the little rascal. I said that before. It was like, my God. And you got Novik coming out. He's got his good 2 fingers, and then the one Captain Hook. It was just like, and then Pastor Matt Hennessy, the child rapist, is the beacon of common sense and peace and harmony with God. The child rapist at the podium. It's like my fucking brain. It was like an aneurysm. I'm already, fired up, ready to go. And I was like, something exploded on the left side of my fucking noodle looking at Matt Hennessy. Get the facts with Matt Hennessy. We don't have to have a Me Too with Matt Hennessy. Get Pastor Hennessy the fuck out of there. Get the fuck out of there. We're not cool with child rapists. Done. Full stop. Get out of there. The thing about that presser, which I found just so remarkable, if you watch the whole thing, and I got to see if I can find it, because I was watching that on JLR Investigates. Like I said, I'm repeating it, but he was claiming that it was live. He was also showing downtown Portland footage, which is clearly at wintertime, and I thought maybe it was a couple years ago. That was actually right after the riots. That footage that he kept playing on this JLR Investigates, he's a good guy. He follows crime scenes all over the country. I mean, he's a good guy. He's not a bad guy. I don't think he was intentionally trying to do this info, but that was 5-year-old footage that he was showing. And all of Portland's boarded up, I mean, it's the federal courthouse still has the gates. If you remember, the city actually came in with artwork and paid people to do murals and artwork over the plywood to try to make the plywood look like it was an art installation piece because of the rioting that bankrupted Portland. So mission accomplished. Let me go step back to the irony for a second. I know I'm jumping around here. I'm going to wrap this up too. It's 55 minutes. The irony of it, if the mission was to destroy Portland or flip Portland or smash fascism, smash capitalism, mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. The irony of now having commissioners seated who were masked up and instigating and coordinating with masked up violent anarcho-communists. Some of them were attacking and nearly killed Andy No, independent journalist, multiple times. They now have mission accomplished because Portland is destroyed. Portland is devastated, in large part from those multi-months of anarcho-communists that destroyed and not only destroyed the small business entrepreneurship, many of them communities of color, FYI, dipshits, but also prevented in making people feel safe to come shop, but it prevented from business investment because now there's no confidence in the Chamber of Commerce of Portland. And here you are trying to debate budget cuts from the demise and the lack of tax revenue that you, anarcho-communist dipshit commissioners, you are responsible for. This missing revenue gaps where we can't create even shelter pads of sorry excuse of any kind of fucking housing, these shelter pads for hundreds of millions of dollars. I really think it's all kind of a Mayor Wilson. He's got his own Shelter Portland nonprofit that he's funneling in all this fucking money into his little Goomba, little shelter pad grifting of shelter beds instead of subsidizing actual apartment units that are empty around Portland. But that shelter, that funding gap is because of you, the communists that hate capitalism. You hated Portland. You hated Oregon. We're all a bunch of racists. What you said, not my words. We're all a bunch of racist, white supremacists. Fuck the man, fuck the patriarch. There's a lot of small business guys that are guys. And that tax revenue you're grifting on so you can finance your little fucking Fruity Loop projects. You need those dipshit white supremacist men for your fucking tax coffers. And now you're reaping the fruits of the seeds that you sowed of 2020. And you deserve it. And you're now going to reap what the seeds that you have sowed, reaping the fruit or lack of rotting fruit from the seeds that you sowed regarding federal funding. Now the bridge project, fucking done. Now your highway, your ODOT money, fucking gone. That's done. You can't get that from the feds maybe in 5 years. Or maybe in 8 years. It might take you 10 years now if you get J.D. Vance or another America First person. It's not going to give you the money unless you make some arrangement, make some adjustments. Get this DEI out of ODOT. Comply with sanctuary federal guidelines. Get rid of the sanctuary protections. Clearly you won't. There's consequences to that. So you're standing at a presser, shaming Trump, shaming the federal government as you're on your knees, slobbering and drooling for the need of that federal funds to come to Portland so we can function, so you can do your little eco-fascist type of green slush funds, whatever other little side fucking projects that you've got manifesting in that communist fucking brain of yours. You need that federal funds, and there's certain give to receive and take type of formulas that you're going, a reality check. You're going to have to mature your mind, mature your political brain to understand that there's consequences with the federal government when you don't comply with federal laws. There's consequences with those grant proposals from the federal government when you're not willing to give at least the optics, and a little bit of wiggle room to our amazing mayor, the gimpy fruit bat, the fruit bat guy. I mean, it's like, what? That guy's ears, he could actually fly with those fucking ears. And hey, I got big ears too, but that guy, man, he's got winged ears. Give the guy a little credit. The gimpy little fruit bat, low testosterone Mayor Wilson, he understands that. And he's made a little adjustment with this DEI. At least verbally, on the outside, send that signal out. Send those signals to the federal government. Send those signals out to Trump administration. Hey, we're willing to do a little wiggle room. We're willing to, at least on the optics on the outside of the shell of City Hall, right? Which is really just like some sort of museum of furries at this point. We're being governed by fucking furries at City Hall at this point, if you ask me. 50 years in this city, I know a little bit about the politics in Portland. Furries are actually at the helm of City Hall, in my opinion. Of course, that's only my opinion. These are all just my opinions. Except for the Hennessy stuff. That's the Oregonian investigation. That wasn't my opinion. Pastor Hennessy is a dirtbag. Get rid of that fuck. Get him out of there at least speaking in front of the press like he has something to do with Portland as he's raping children. I digress. He'll deal with God, but he's going to deal with us before he deals with God. Let me backstep and wrap this up. There's consequences to not complying with federal guidelines. The city county chair, the city leaders, the city commissioners, the county commissioners, all of you are responsible for the violence that's happened at the ICE facility here in Portland. I pray to God that we remain peaceful. I thank you, God, that we have not had the assassinations that we've seen across this country, and the more that are coming, because there's Governor Pritzker, there's all kinds of dipshit governors in Governor Newsom. These guys are protecting and instigating and fueling for their own exploitation and political motives and incentives. They are instigating this violence to overthrow because it's resistance to Dawn. It's resistance to the Republicans. We need this for the midterms. We need this for 2028 presidential election. We need these radical, violent, sociopath communists to exploit and manipulate and send them up to the rooftops untrained with high-powered firearms because we politically need to reap the rewards of that assassination environment. That blood is on all of your hands, including Governor Tina Kotek. Don't you play fucking dumb dipshit furry games with me. You know damn well we have an Oregon National Guard. You know damn well I'm not the only one that's tweeted it for a year and a half or however long you've been in 2 years, whatever you've been in power. This shit is violent and scary and dangerous to us community members. It needs intervention. It needed intervention 18 months ago. It needs intervention now. You have the power to deploy the National Guard for peaceful reasons, not to come in and shoot up Kent State style fucking peaceful protesters, which all of us know these aren't fucking peaceful protesters. Get the fuck up with this peaceful protest shit. My God, fuck you people, fuck you senators. None of this is peaceful. Rep Maxine Dexter, God, what? And she's now trying to pivot. At that presser, she made some statements where nobody wants to say full stop. Stop protesting. Stop the violence. Stop coming down to the ICE facility. That's what needs to happen. We need people to stop showing up. No more encampments. No more protests at the ICE facility. You've made your point loud and clear. Dozens and dozens and dozens of your comrades and colleagues have been arrested, have been charged with federal charges. Probably, if those stick, Their entire lives are going to be destroyed. They're going to have to push down into the underground, into the crime world, if they're not already underground and in the crime world. I mean worse, because federal charges are going to make it hard to go through a normie life, if that's at all a goal or possible, either one. Not with federal charges of violence. I mean, it's possible, but my God, why though? Why? Because you're full of anger and rage and you're lashing out against the national government. You're going to attack a facility that's actually designed to integrate and to help assimilate new community arrivals, new immigrants legally into the process, where we can screen them so they're not cartel criminals. Hopefully we can screen that, at least catch some of it. With MS-13 on the neck, some of it we can see, some of it may go under the radar, but there's a screening and vetting process that all new migrants who we love, and they should be loved. They're not, the ones that did it the right way, they lose that love and acceptance when they're lumped into a big vat of illegal cartel criminals, which is what happens when the borders open and you fly millions of orphans into Catholic charity planes, into the States with Catholic charities. Or when there's millions, many of them, they're not all violent, but it doesn't matter that they're not all violent. The violent ones that are raping our children, our youth, our daughters, our neighbors, our girls, those are going to make the press, and it's going to create a ripple effect of rejection and violence. It's going to violence against all migrants. When you got mentally ill on the whatever, this right-wing side, this conservative side, or less educated side on both sides. I don't know how you want to frame that. I try to avoid the left and the right, but the point is that it's psychological. When we have a process and people can see that vetting process, it helps all of us. It helps get new talent, new people that are thirsty and hungry to work and work hard for their slice of the American dream. We need them. We need them after COVID-19. Not just the shots. Let's just deal with the bioweapon. We have tens of millions of disabled Americans from the bioweapon itself in 2020. 2019 is when it started, I believe, but 2020. And then you could tack on, doesn't even have to tack on, but you can't rule out this bioweapon of the COVID-19 mRNA experimental gene therapy. It's not even vaccines. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm giving you my opinion on why we need healthy new labor and Americans. We need people. The Zoomers, millennials are not having children. And they're certainly not having 7, 8, 9, 10 children that the boomers had. Gen X, who knows? Who knows how many kids they're having? They're not having as many. We are on a decline. So contrary to a lot of expressed opinions I read all the time, there's too many people and too much population creating too many problems and not enough love to go around, quote, talking heads. That's not true on the sense that it's about population. We do need more. That is true. We do need more love. There isn't enough love to go around. Obviously, there's way too much hate perched up with high-powered rifles on rooftops all over this country. My God, get off the rooftops. Get off the rooftops. Have a couple little THC gummies. Twist up a Bobby Marley. Sit down. Look at the beautiful women around you. Think about maybe having some beautiful children with these beautiful women that are all over the place. Get off the rooftops. Come down from the rooftops and the ledge. Let's talk. Change my mind. The great, legendary Charlie Kirk. But shame on the leaders at that presser yesterday for not saying what I have just said over and over again. Full stop. Stop this so-called peaceful protest that is violent insurrection. Stop instigating the mentally ill. Even if you're okay, which I would question if you are just okay. Maybe you are okay. Maybe we're all okay. We could be better. But even if you are working on being better okay, the people that are not doing well for a variety of different reasons, when they hear that programming, whether you want to call it copycat, whether you want to call it inspiration, whether you want to just call it suicidal tendencies expressing themselves, we get this reoccurring ripple effect of repeat patterns. Take a look at last week's violence to understand what I just said about repeat violent patterns. So stop. And leadership would step up and say, you know what? I don't like the orange man. Fuck Trump. Fuck Trump's policies. Fuck it all. But you know what? And this is what Maxine Dexter was like, we need bipartisan. And then she blamed the Republicans for not going along because there was an election. Rep Maxine Dexter, that's bullshit. You're gaslighting again. The Republicans passed H.R. 1 before the election, and the Senate wouldn't even let it come to the floor. A massive immigration, comprehensive reform, immigration reform bill. Republicans had it too, Maxine. Don't gaslight like that, like you did yesterday at that press room. You lose respect from all the normies in the middle, the moderate normies. And I'm not a normie, but I consider myself a centrist. I'm in that area, which I'm a lost cause with you. I'll never fucking like you because you're a lying, gaslighting fucking wench. But there's a whole bunch of millions of people out there in Oregon that you might be able to persuade and gaslight and lie to, huh? No, don't gaslight. Speak the truth. But you spoke a little bit of the truth and then you gaslighted. You said, yes, we do have some common ground. Yes, for the first time, all these Democrats have been pushing back so hard, they've been standing with cartel, homicidal, rapist killers who have been deported to come import them back. That's what Maxine Dexter did. Rep Dexter went down to try to do a staged, and she did, international media press. She's going to fight for these cartel rapists, women beaters to come back because they shouldn't. They need due process. You're going to lecture about due process. People that are here committing illegal activities have no due process. They're not legal use American citizens. Due process applies to citizens and legal Americans, not illegal cartel members or associates or even non-cartel members. That's a deport. So I digress. I mean, it's like I hate her so. I just loathe her so much. But it's like God, try to soften my heart with her because she just said exactly the direction we need to go. Somewhat. There is comprehensive immigration that can bipartisan that can be decided on, but it's not the way you've been doing it and spinning it in the press for sure. And it's not the Republicans' fault. We're the ones, or I don't consider my Republican, but as American First, I'm siding with as an independent. And there's a lot of Democrats with American First too. I'm not a Democrat. I love Democrat. Never been a Democrat in my life. Independent. I started as Green Party. Some people say, oh, that's liberal and Democrat. No, let me tell you something. Greens are more hated by the Democrats than the Republican, than they hate the Republicans. Greens are more hated by Democrats than Democrats hate the Republicans because they view us as splitting their votes. We're the third party spoiler. They hate us. They've sabotaged us. They've framed us. They prevent us from getting on the ballot. They prevented us from even having ballot access, for Christ's sakes. The Democrats hate us. I'm never going to vote for somebody that's done what they've done to us as Greens and independents, non-affiliates, ever. except for in nonpartisan situations, and I have to vote for somebody, and they might be affiliated with the Democrats, even though they're not running under a party affiliation, blah, blah, blah. You understand my point? I hope you understood my point. There's common ground, but there's about protection in securing the perimeter. So don't pretend that this is some new thing. Don't pretend that Trump doing what Big Daddy's doing, because Big Daddy's got the federal dollars that you need, we all need here in Oregon and Portland. You're going to have to work with Big Daddy Trump. You're going to have to work with him. And in doing so, you make it better. Common sense reforms and protections for all of the community, all of Portland, all of the counties, all of the state, all of the country, if you ask me. Now, there's a whole bunch of shit I don't like that he's involved with. Oracle for one, AI for another, but I don't have to be 100% to know what is going to protect our children, protect our young teens more than the others. So anyway, I digress. I'm long-winded. God bless. To the anarchic communists, stop. Get off the facilities, get out of the facilities, stop with the violence. To the Democrats, work with Republicans and work with Big Daddy Trump, because he's got the purse strings. And to the Republicans, you're going to have to show a little bit of flexibility. And I hope that you are behind the scenes to reach out and give these Democrat governors like Tina Kotek an opportunity to save face and to stand up and pretend that she is doing something on a neutral type of centrist level, if at all possible. It may not be with her. It may not be with like Pritzker or Newsom, who wants to run for president. It may not be possible, but let's do what's in the best interest of we of the people, Republicans. Let's do the best of we the people, and not your corporate welfare donors, not your donors that you need to shuffle that corporate welfare to. So you're in full check just like the rest of them. All right. God bless. Be peaceful. No more bloodshed. Peace out.